Here are 3 things that haven't changed in design: Lego bricks, Bic pens, and the Mercedes G-Wagon. Boxy and militaristic, the refreshed 2025 Mercedes-Benz G-Class looks like a G-Class and drives like a G-Class, with one exception. The 2025 G-Wagon's big takeaway is there are now 3 powertrains to choose from: a 3-liter turbocharged inline-6, a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, both with mild hybrid power, and an all-electric version. The first ever electric G580 with EQ technology uses a 116 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery. Like certain Rivians, it has a motor for each wheel for all-wheel drive. Range is expected to be 240 miles. Combined, the G580 produces 579 horsepower and 859 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 happens in an estimated 4.6 seconds. Keep in mind, all of this is coming from a box that weighs 6,600 pounds. Just note that top speed is limited to 112 miles an hour. Inside, it's still the same layout as the outgoing G-Wagon. However, we'll note here that the small exterior aerodynamic tweaks that Mercedes did, along with additional sound deadening, makes this the quietest G-Wagon cabin ever. You can actually have a conversation with fellow passengers at highway speeds. Plus, the all-electric powertrain brings a new level of unmatched quietness. Off-road, the G580 is the one you want out there. Much like Ford's Trail Turn Assist, G-Steering brakes the inside rear tire and drives the outside wheels, so the G580 can turn way more sharply on the trail. A first for EVs, the G580 features a mechanical 2-to-1 gear reduction low range, just like a traditional transfer case. You can shift into and out of low seamlessly and instantaneously, though you still need to be in neutral to do this. As for G-Turn, just take a look for yourself. It's wild, it's disorienting, it's completely pointless, but it's so cool. Do us a favor. If you buy an electric G-Wagon, please hit the trails a few times a year. Use this thing the way it was intended. Mercedes did not announce pricing at this time, but it's not like the G-Wagon's gonna get cheaper. You can expect things to start at over $140,000.
Even though everyone and their mother is buying SUVs, it doesn't mean Toyota has forgotten about the humble sedan. This is the 2025 Toyota Camry, all new for its 9th generation with sleek looks and a hybrid-only engine. Let's check it out. The new Camry gets its new face from the new Prius, and that is a very good thing because we love the way the Prius looks, and in this application, it looks fantastic. Couldn't come soon enough because the old Camry was starting to get very, very dated. As we move along the car, I want to show you that the new Camry still has significant backseat space. Getting to this backseat might be a little hard for people taller because of the sloping roofline, but once you're back here, comfortable bench, nice back support, good leg room, good recline, all of these spacious things that the Camry has been known for. And finally, a thing that we all love and expect, a spacious trunk. Okay, let's get to driving. It's just a little funny that I am driving a Camry today as opposed to sitting back there because I'm in an Uber. The new Camry is now all hybrid. In front-wheel drive setups, that means a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder that is aided by 2 electric motors, and total system output there is 225 horsepower. This, the all-wheel drive version, is that setup with a 3rd electric motor driving the rear wheels for a total system output of 232 horsepower. It's not bad in here. It feels spry. The ride quality is also pretty good. It corners pretty flat, so it's actually a pretty enjoyable car to drive quickly. I have to actively resist the urge to drive it like a sports car. It kind of makes you want to. In a Camry! How wonderful is that? All those years of people criticizing the Camry for being a washing machine, an appliance on wheels. I think they would have to eat their words here. You can feel the liveliness in the chassis here. After driving it for just a short time, here's what the new Camry does well. The steering for sure feels tightened up. It's quite responsive now, and you actually get pretty good feedback through the wheel. So you get more confidence driving this thing. Sometimes with hybrids, there's that problem where you brake and you feel the weird trade-off between regen and friction brakes travel through the pedal. That is no longer the case here. The braking feels very, very natural and intuitive. Also, because of the hybrid setup, there's a ton of low-end power. I think something that could be a problem area for a Camry is the all-wheel drive is not permanent all-wheel drive. It's an electric motor that drives the rear wheels. It really only steps in when the car senses it's needed. So in a low traction situation, if it senses any sort of slippage, then it will activate that third motor for the rear wheels. But otherwise, the car effectively functions as a front-wheel drive car. It makes sense because you don't always need all-wheel drive and your mileage will suffer. But for some people, maybe the peace of mind of just wanting consistent all-wheel drive might balk a little bit at this setup. Once you floor it, you see that it is not the most powerful car in the world. The urgency to get there is there. So it's not a drag race winner, it's agility. That is the strength of the new Camry. We're learning things on this journey, friends, and the thing we've learned today is the new Camry is fun. As the best-selling sedan in the United States, the Camry is a very important car for Toyota to get right, and it did. The new Camry is spacious, comfortable, quiet, also with the added bonus of being really, really fun to drive. I'm very pleasantly surprised. And man, it makes me wonder, Toyota had the bravery to GR a Corolla. What is stopping it from doing the same to the Camry? I'm getting ahead of myself. Camry prices start between $29,000 to $37,000 depending on trim, but regardless of whatever you get, you can expect something that just works. Thus, keeping the Camry as the cornerstone of the American sedan market.
Hi, I'm Alexander Stocklosa, Deputy Editor of MotorTrend, and we're here today with the 2025 Ram 1500. Now, outwardly it may look pretty similar to the 2024 model. However, working under the hood is a big change, and it's not just for Ram, for the full-size segment generally. You cannot buy a 2025 Ram 1500 with a Hemi V8. It's just gone. Instead, you get the choice of one of two outputs for the same Hurricane 3-liter twin-turbo inline-six. The standard output beats the old Hemi on power. The high output, as installed in this new range-topping tungsten trim level, just blows it out of the water entirely. So let's get this out on the road, see how the new 6 handles this very large truck, and give you some impressions. So inside the Ram 1500 are a few small but noticeable changes. There's this new digital display. This display continues, but it's a little bit better arranged. And then new for 2025 and ported over from more luxurious Jeeps, it's this passenger side screen. So it's not visible to me from the driver's seat, but to a passenger, they can follow along navigation information, other smaller things. There's dual wireless phone chargers available and some new trailer backup assists as well. Otherwise, it's the same upscale Ram interior that we've come to expect. This one is even more elevated, being the new for 2025 tungsten trim. So you get all the stitching and feels pretty close to a Jeep Grand Wagoneer in here, and this is a truck, so pretty impressive. So the big question is whether this new Hurricane Inline 6 can truly replace Ram's Hemi V8. Right off the bat, I don't think this is going to be a very hard transition. Even the entry-level standard output Hurricane puts out about 420 horsepower, which is significantly more than the old 5.7-liter Hemi V8 and its 395 horsepower. We are currently in a tungsten truck here, the new highest level trim. That means it's got the high output Hurricane engine, which is putting down 540 horsepower and 521 pound-feet torque. So basically we're just blowing away the old Hemi, as we'll demonstrate here with a little bit of fun. Sounds great. There's a little bit of a turbo blow off, and we're up to speed. And yeah, We'll miss the V8 for the noise, but this has its own sound that's pretty good, and the pickup is amazing. It just feels like a nice, modern, tight engine. Twin turbos, virtually no lag, and just sharp throttle response. There's a little bit of an interesting lope at idle. It's almost like they tune that in to give it a trucky kind of vibe, but it's not intrusive. There's no vibration. Again, this is a very smooth engine, very powerful, really satisfying, and again, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck because that upgrade engine in standard output form is more than you got with the old Hemi. Obviously, the engine isn't the only change, but it is the biggest. There are some revisions here and there. The luxury quotient has gone up already over the considerably luxurious limited trim with this tungsten. But the engine is a huge deal, and a full-size truck maker not offering a traditional gas V8 is an even bigger deal. We think this Hurricane engine lineup eviscerates that as a concern. It is just wholly up to the task for this truck, and it'll make you forget that there isn't a V8 available. So, will customers miss this V8? Maybe. We won't, because this Hurricane Inline 6 really pushes the Ram 1500 forward. You layer into that these styling revisions, the much more luxurious tungsten trim, some of those extra display technologies trickling over from like Jeep's brand. Yeah, it's a better 1500. Is it going to be a better 1500 without a V8? Absolutely.
Toyota have lifted the covers off the all-new 6th generation 4Runner. Now, this behind me is a limited grade, sort of a mid-tier, but in total, you have a choice of 9 different grades of the new 4Runner and 2 different powertrains. The standard powertrain is an iForce turbocharged 2.4-litre 4-cylinder engine, which produces 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. The iForce Max hybrid powertrain utilizes that same 4-cylinder, but with a 48 horsepower electric motor integrated into the 8-speed transmission, feeding off a 1.87 kilowatt-hour battery pack. That combination creates a total system output of up to 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque, the most powerful powertrain ever offered on 4Runner. SR5, TRD Sport, TRD Off-Road and Limited grades will come standard with the non-hybrid powertrain, while the iForce Max Hybrid will be available in the TRD Off-Road and Limited and standard on TRD Pro, Platinum and Trail Hunter models. The new kid on the block is the Trail Hunter. Think of it as an off-the-shelf Overlander direct from Toyota, and it's got some really nice additional features. Look at these uprated wheels and tires, which look spectacular. We've got a roof rack up here by ARB, we've got some Old Man Emu suspension components, and even a light bar and some extra lights here by Rigid Industries. Those OME dampers feature remote reservoirs which keep heat in check as you work the suspension. Overall, the Trail Hunter's front end has been lifted 2 inches and the rear is raised 1.5 inches. It has a front anti-roll bar which disconnects to increase articulation, a locking rear differential which helps the tyres find traction in the dirt, a raised air intake which ensures the flow of air to the engine is clean while you're busy kicking up the dust. On the inside, the 4Runner is a great mix of the now familiar Toyota layout with some added flourishes. An 8-inch screen is standard in most trims with a 14-inch version also available. Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 is standard on all models, with Proactive Driving Assist now also included, which uses the 4Runner's suite of cameras and radar to apply steering and brake input to help with distance control between you, other cars, pedestrians and cyclists. Out back is a decently sized cargo area framed by an available power liftgate and a power rear window which is standard across all grades. There's a decent amount of crossover between the Land Cruiser and 4Runner, but no matter what your need is, Toyota has you covered, with those 9 separate grades and a healthy list of options and extras. It's due to be on sale by the fall of this year and we cannot wait to drive it.
I'm Frank Marcus with MotorTrend, and I'm here getting a look at the brand new 2025 Ford Explorer. Now, this is a mid-cycle refresh. We've got new grille designs, new front and rear fascias, lighting, 1 new color, the option of a black roof on top trim levels, 4 new wheel designs, but nothing too much of a mechanical sort besides that. The powertrains carry over completely with a few deletions, so it's strictly 400 horsepower worth of twin-turbo V6 and 300 horsepower worth of 2.3-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder. Ford is really trying to appeal to the millennials a little bit more. And one of the things that we have complained about in comparison tests and so forth is the tech stack on the current Explorer. That all changes with this car. Every new Ford Explorer gets this all-digital interior. 12 inches of driver information center and a 13.2-inch landscape-style screen here. What's really important is what is underneath that, which Ford's Explorer is debuting its new Ford Digital Experience. So right now, this is really leading into the notion of the car as another device. Very good integration. You can do things through CarPlay. There are also a lot of apps that you can directly buy from Ford and put on a Ford home screen. New this year also, Bluetooth-paired game controllers and keyboards can be paired with this. There is an upgraded browser in here, so you can use your Bluetooth keyboard for searching for things that you might want to navigate to. Also, the whole layout is improved. All of the cars get this wrapped and stitched look. Different materials for different trim grades, but it's an upscale look. This tray is new. It has a wireless charging platform right here. We've got a sound bar here to make it look like your home sound bar. And it is a B&O Play option in here. And they do actually have speakers. The tweeters that would have been in the A-pillar have moved into the outer corners of this sound bar. We're pretty impressed with this. I'm quite convinced that the Explorer will come up in our tech stack ratings. We've also had some complaints with the drivability, and one change that they have done, they say they've recalibrated the 10-speed automatic based on lessons learned from other applications of that transmission. So I'm eager to see if that improves our feel about the drivability. In the back, we've got the new taillights, new fascia, not too much design-wise. Again, the whole idea of the new Ford Explorer is what's inside. And the Ford Explorer goes on sale. As you hear this, you can order it, and deliveries will start at the beginning of summer 2024. The base price for the active trim, which replaces the old base and XLT, is $41,220. Going up from there, you have ST line, which will be the most popular trim. It'll look like this, but without the big motor. And then at the top of the range, we have ST and Platinum. We don't have pricing on those. That'll come soon.
This is the 2025 Lincoln Aviator. For 2025, we've had a refresh. What Lincoln did was they wanted to give it a face similar to its little brothers, the Corsair and the Nautilus. To that end, we have a new grille. It's a little bit bigger, part of an overall desire to make it look more dynamic and give it a little more attitude. Inside, there are a couple of different interior choices. Across the lineup, you can get a chocolate brown or a gray. If you're in the black label, which we are now, there are themed ones, and this new one is actually a black interior. Believe it or not, there was not a black interior in the past for the black label trim, so they've remedied that. The big update is with the screens. The driver now has a 12.4-inch screen and a head-up display, and then we have a center screen here that's 13.2 inches. We did think it was odd that the Nautilus, which costs less, has the giant 48-inch coast-to-coast screen and a center console screen, but they both at least have the same digital platform, so they have the same software, and that comes with a ton of apps and versatility. You can use embedded Google Voice, Google Assistant, Google Maps, or you can still use CarPlay and Siri. They wanted to give you a lot of options of things that you can do. And for those who like gaming, there's a couple of games in here, but you gotta be in park. They did get rid of some of the buttons with all of this screen, but we still have some important ones. We've got the volume button. We've got a row of buttons here, including your max defrost, turning off your traction control, obviously your hazard, and a couple of other key ones. The other little change is they've moved the engine start-stop button here into the piano key shifter. One of the things that Lincoln did to simplify the lineup was to put more standard equipment on it. And that includes things like the sunroof, heated and cooled front seats, a trailer tow, Blue Cruise for 4 years. This was to make it easier to build it at the factory and also to give a little more value and a little more elegance to whatever trim level you buy. In terms of packaging, one of the features I kind of like is a separate cubby for the wireless charging of your phone, and it's on an angle. Slide it in there so you can kind of still see it when you're sitting behind the wheel. This is the reserve trim level. What's nice about this is the hot chocolate interior. It's not a lot different from the outgoing model, but a couple of things I like. For the kids to play with, they have their own center screen. And for the ones who have to go all the way to the back, look how easy it is. So what powers this? Well, it is the same 3-liter twin-turbo V6, which puts out 400 horsepower, so that's no slouch. It's rear drive bias, but there is optional all-wheel drive. And there are a couple of suspensions. It comes standard with a continuously variable damping suspension, or you can upgrade to the air suspension. For 2025, Lincoln is simplifying the lineup, which means they are now down to 3 trim levels. You have your base premium, then you have the reserve, and then you have the top of the line Black Label, which has 22-inch wheels for the first time, by the way. Gone is the Grand Touring, which was the plug-in hybrid. That means no more electrification for the Aviator. Is that because there's a pure electric Aviator coming in the next few years? Built in Chicago, the 2025 Lincoln Aviator goes on sale this summer with a starting price just under $60,000. That's about $5,000 more than the outgoing model, but again, a lot more standard equipment, so could end up being a bargain.
This is the all-new 2025 Nissan Kicks, a car chock full of model firsts and segment bests. Let's get into it. This is Nissan's entry-level compact crossover, and I think it's fair to say it's had a bit of a glow-up. Gone are the part car, part SUV stylings of old, and in comes this more individual, purposeful crossover design, which signals the Kicks as a vehicle that Nissan has high hopes for. The Kicks will be available in S, SV, and SR trims with optional premium offerings in the SV and SR. This one we have today is a top-of-the-line SR, and it looks good. First impressions, well, it's muscular, it's broad, and it's got some spectacular angles, especially around the corners. That's not something you often find yourself saying about a crossover. The thing that hit me first was the segment-leading 8.4 inches of ground clearance, and that ground clearance hints at something. Yes, all-wheel drive. For the first time, the Nissan Kicks will be available with optional Nissan Intelligent all-wheel drives. Powering those wheels is a 2-litre inline 4-cylinder motor producing 141 horsepower and 140 pound-feet of torque. That power is fed to the wheels through an Xtronic automatic transmission. As we move toward the rear of the Kicks, we are treated to yet more fantastic angles. I love the complexity of this rear quarter panel. There's also a subtle spoiler up top and rear LEDs which wrap around into the fenders. With both the front fascia and the rear side of this car, the designers worked hard to create a complex yet clean and cohesive singular surface. Again, it's the intention of design that shines here. The new Kicks stands out. Believe it or not, one of the design inspirations for this new Kicks was an American football player. And you can see it, right? We've got the curve here of the helmet coming down to these broad shoulders, of course, like the shoulder pads, and even down to the DRLs, which sit below the headlights here and replicate the eye black makeup that a football player would wear. Cool, right? And look, the rocker panel accents are 3D textured like a sneaker, or if you will, a kick. And the interesting textures are continued through to the interior, which is modern, airy, geometric, unfussy, but nonetheless premium feeling. It's supposed to offer a counterpoint to the mean, gruff exterior, and I think it's really nice. The seats are comfy, these SR ones even have a touch of lava red weave running through them and Bose speakers in the headrest. The trunk boasts a 40.3-inch cargo opening, which is best in class, and has a total cargo capacity of up to 30 cubic feet with the seats raised, or 60 cubic feet with them lowered, which is also best in class. So there you have it, the 2025 Nissan Kicks, a good-looking compact crossover with loads of bells and whistles. Can this be a competitor to the likes of the sporty Mazda CX-30? We can't wait to find out when we drive it in the summer.
I'm Aaron Gold from MotorTrend, and this is the CX-70, the new two-row SUV from Mazda. Now I know what you're saying, Aaron, that's a CX-90, but it's not. The folks here at Mazda assure me this is the CX-70, even though it's basically the same size as the CX-90 and the same shape as the CX-90 and probably has the same powertrains as the CX-90, but it is a two-row version of that SUV aimed at an older, more mature audience. You notice it's got this blacked out chrome trim, a lot of black trim where there used to be chrome on the CX-90, and of course, only 2 rows of seats. It's a bit like the Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport as opposed to the 7-seat Volkswagen Atlas, or the Honda Passport as opposed to the Honda Pilot. Granted, those SUVs have a different shape and a little bit faster roofline, but the CX-70 doesn't need that because it's the Mazda CX-70. Inside, let's call it a variation on a theme. It has the gorgeous digital dashboard, the beautiful materials that we love from the CX-90, and the funky transmission shifter and the infotainment system that we don't. The 70 gives us everything we love about the CX-90, the great driving dynamics, the beautiful interior, and takes away the bits that we don't like so much. The fact that the CX-90 is really not great as a 7-seater, and we think it's going to find a lot of fans. Obviously, such a large vehicle with only 2 rows of seats, there's plenty of cargo space, and now that the 3rd row seat is gone, there is hidden storage under the floor, and if you need more, you can fold the back seats electrically. Now let's be serious for a moment. Okay, that's enough. We love the way the CX-90 looks. We love the way the CX-90 drives. Our biggest complaint about the CX-90 is it's not that good as a 7-seater. So the CX-70 basically excises all the stuff that we don't like and leaves us with the stuff we do. It's very luxurious. We're sure it's going to be great to drive, and we think it's going to please a lot of people, be they Mazda fans or folks who are new to the brand.
We're here today with the 2025 Ram 1500 Rev. This is their new electric pickup truck set to do battle with the Ford F-150 Lightning and Chevrolet Silverado EV when it goes on sale early in 2025. Now, it delivers some pretty big range numbers, 350 miles to 500 miles, using some pretty massive batteries. On my right is what looks like a completely normal Rev as well, just in a different color. They're actually hiding a little bit of a secret under its hood, and surprise, it's actually a V6 gas engine. This changes the range game quite a bit. So even though it has a smaller battery, the Ram Charger has a range extender. So that V6 acts as a 130 kilowatt generator and ups the total range from 140 to 150 miles estimated under electric power alone to 690 miles, way beyond the regular Rev, way beyond Ford's F-150 Lightning, and even the Silverado EV. Let's get into some specifics with that V6 engine. It's Stellantis' standard Pentastar 3.6-liter gas V6 found under the hood of pretty much anything in the lineup, including the regular 2025 Ram 1500, albeit with some mild hybridization there. Here, again, it's not connected to the drive wheels at all. It is purely there to act as a generator, feeding electricity to the dual motors when the 92 kilowatt hour battery runs out. So that battery, you can't see it here, is spread out beneath the body between the frame rails. And so Stellantis calls this STLA frame. It's their electric-only platform for body-on-frame vehicles like the Ram 1500, as well as the upcoming Jeep Grand Wagoneer electric. In those, however, the battery is much larger. So here, 92 kilowatt hour. In the Rev, it's 168 kilowatt hour to 229 kilowatt hours. So again, that delivers solid range for the Rev, but here when you downsize that, it's making room for that 27-gallon fuel tank, V6 engine in the front, and the packaging stays the same. So as you can tell, the bodies are identical, the interiors are identical, and even the two motors are the same. The only difference is in peak output. So the rear motor gets a little extra juice, largely because of that 130 kilowatt generator, providing a little extra oomph under full throttle. Other key differences between the Ram Charger and the Rev pertain to charging. So as you can see, this is the charge port. Again, there's also a gas door in the rear. The peak charge rate is a little bit lower. It's 175 kilowatt, which Ram says is good enough for 5 miles of range per minute at its peak. The Rev is a little quicker because it has its battery, which is a 400 volt setup, split into 2 modules, which can charge in series at up to 350 kilowatt. So much faster on the go, but again, you have that fuel tank that's backing you up on a long trip here, or when towing or driving up a hill, you're getting all that energy. It's right on board, no charging needed. You also get a little extra power. So peak output of the Ram Charger is 663 horsepower and 615 pound-feet of torque between the two front and rear motors. In the Rev, that's only 654 horsepower and 610 pound-feet. In either case, they both are estimated to reach 60 miles an hour in just 4.4 seconds. So they'll be plenty quick, they just get there different ways. So you may be asking yourselves whether the Ram Charger, with its huge range numbers, slightly better power than the Rev, is a better electric pickup truck. It's more of a different electric truck. If you're looking to go all electric and never visit a gas station again, the Rev is for you. If you do occasionally want to tow, haul, and just drive a little fast in your electric truck while enjoying the benefits of all electric motoring most of the time, the Ram Charger is for you. It has, a fuel tank that you can fill up at any gas station in America and rely on for those long trips where you're towing or you need to cross the country. And that's just a benefit that you're not going to get in a regular electric truck, so it may be the best of both worlds.
This is the all-new 2025 Cadillac OPTIQ, Cadillac's entry-level EV. It has up to 300 miles of range and can charge 70 miles in 10 minutes using a 350 kilowatt-hour charger. But there are many other cool things to talk about it, so let's go check it out. The OPTIQ is one of 4 electric SUVs in Cadillac's lineup, which also includes the Lyriq, Vistiq, and Escalade IQ. There will only be one powertrain available in the OPTIQ, a dual-motor all-wheel drive setup that makes 288 horsepower and 333 pound-feet of torque that's shared with the Chevy Equinox EV all-wheel drive. The good news is that the 300-mile range is standard across the board, as is the 85 kilowatt-hour battery pack that is the only one offered in the OPTIQ. No word yet on whether there will be a rear-drive version. Like other General Motors EVs, the OPTIQ is based on the Ultium platform. Also standard in the OPTIQ is Super Cruise, General Motors' version of hands-free driving. Every OPTIQ will get Super Cruise free with 3 years of service and the latest active and passive safety gear, which is a long list that includes enhanced automatic parking and blind spot steering assist. So despite the OPTIQ sharing the same platform and powertrain with the Equinox EV, outside it's a complete new vehicle. Let's start here with the front, with Cadillac's signature grille. It's illuminated and we have these vertical headlamps, very similar to what we've seen in the Lyriq. But moving over to the side of the vehicle, the profile, we have a very high belt line, giving it a very sporty look. And then we have this rear quarter panel with multiple layers of glass and this inlet design that's built into it. Very cool, very attractive, and it also follows kind of like the Cadillac logo design. And back here we have 2 spoilers, one in the top and one in the bottom. That is to help with aerodynamics and improve range.